there was also a middle period where it's like, oh my goodness, this is just painstaking. And am I ever going to finish?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to meet Thomas. Hi Thomas.
Hey, good morning.
And Thomas has got a beautiful Casita and a nice Toyota Tacoma pickup as the tow vehicle. And man, that is a beauty you've got there.
Yeah, it's been a labor of love, and it was more work than I expected, but I'm happy to have it done.
So when you picked it up, it was took more work than you thought?
Well, I knew I was buying a used unit. It was priced out at $1,900, and I thought, well, I can afford that. And it had been redone by the previous owner. She towed it up from Louisiana with a Subaru, and I thought, all right, it's lightweight, I can tow it. I never owned a Casita before. And I thought I'll put my finishing touches on it and I'm ready to go. But when I got it home, I found that there was moisture underneath the fiberglass floor, which meant that any wood that was sort of structural was rotted. And I saw black liquid when I put my weight bearing down on the floor, and I didn't know that. And if I had known that, I wouldn't have done it. But as a result, it meant taking the egg off the frame and redoing. And so it became that, which took me about 4 summers on and off of work. I was working full time. I just retired in May of last year. And so over the summer, when I had time, I'd work on it. And so that's what you see there. But I did all the work myself under a 10 by 20 tent in my driveway. So.
But now you know exactly what's in there.
Yeah.
And the thing skyrocketed in value.
Yeah, they're supposed to be lightweight, and they don't have the seams that some of the traditional campers have, the wood frame built. So the idea is you can get less water gets in, but if any water does get in, it doesn't get out easily.
Right.
That's why the frame, the floor rotted out. Needed a new axle too. That's why the woman was generous enough to give me a few dollars. You know, she gave me another $400 off because the axle on these, the rubber in them fatigues over time. You have to replace the axle supposedly every 10 years. But yeah, taking the egg off, I didn't anticipate getting into all that.
Yeah.
But having done that, no, it's really, I did a comprehensive job. It's like brand new in a way. There were times when I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like fabricating things. I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of, doing things myself. But there was also a middle period where it's like, oh my goodness, this is just painstaking. And am I ever going to finish?
And you're towing it with a Toyota Tacoma. And
yeah.
How does that work?
It's the 6-cylinder with the 4-liter, and I would say it's not great, but it's adequate. It's good. I came from New York out here, and once it's great on the flats, but once you get into terrain where you're climbing elevation, it gets a little doggy. You got to downshift.
Okay, can we go ahead and take a look inside?
Absolutely.
See what you've done?
Yeah.
Now, let's do that.
Let's do it.
So here we are inside, and it is completely custom because you gutted it.
Yeah, it was completely down to the bare fiberglass. I had to. Originally, the woman that redid it had like this 3/4 inch foam over everything, which created an insulation layer, and I thought, that's really good. I really liked that. And it had a very simple build, kept it lightweight, with a little cooler in one side, a little sink that went through the floor. I liked the simplicity of it. When the floor was rotted, I had to, actually cut out the top layer of fiberglass to reveal the wet floor underneath it. And then, of course, raise the egg. See what happened, these Casitas come with fiberglass cabinets. They make them in the factory. And then the way they attach them to the hull is they drill holes and they rivet them to the hull. Well, when you take the cabinets out, if you don't do a proper job of repairing those holes, then they had just puttied the holes and caulked them. And so water got into this, and of course it's like a fishbowl. It didn't leave. And so it made its way into the floor, and that's what rotted out the floor. The main structural elements are these pine boards that I got from my friend Tracy. They're 100-year-old pine boards, and he milled them down. And then I had to contour them to fit the profile of the hull. But those provide sort of I call them the ribs of the whale. Those are the structural elements that help keep the roof from deflecting. So I have these vertical elements, and the countertop is lagged in with brackets and screws. It's up there tight. Like when these go in, they really fit tight like a glove. but there's no screw holes in the roof. And even the solar panels, I use the AM solar tilting solar mounts with the VHB tape, which I was reluctant, but I called the company and they said that they've never had a problem. Yeah, so when I get to camp, I just open up these cabinets and then I have no condensation building up in here because the warm air gets in there. It doesn't trap the cold air. And I made some simple drawers. Initially, I had plastic drawers, but I made some wooden drawers. I've been through a couple iterations. I've had to modify them over time because this is a piece of plywood and it was deflecting. If you see this, it was doing that a lot more. And what was happening is this catch mechanism, because this was lowering, all these things were falling on the floor, so I couldn't have that. So I took the shelf out and I used a router to route out a little groove, and I put this piece of steel on here. And so now it's much better. But then I added these little custom bungees, and that's like, now it doesn't come loose at all. A couple eyelets and these custom bungees. And what's so nice about these custom bungees is you can buy the cord and these terminal ends. This terminal end slides onto the bungee, and then these little pinchers go into the cord material, and then this solidifies the union, and these do not come loose. I use them all over this camper.
So you're retired. Are you
Yes.
full-time?
No, well, I'm retired full-time, but no, this is my first time out west here, and it's the longest I've traveled, and it's the longest I've been out. So, but when I was building this camper, I built it specifically for boondocking. It's every system I've built has really worked out well. The 200 watts of solar on the roof. I have 200 watts underneath here that I can deploy outside. This is a whole other storage cabinet in here. Telescoping ladder. 200 watts. I built my own 200. These are actual 100-watt Renogy panels, but I put hinges on them and some legs. And then I have a table here that I built with these legs unfold, and these go in the front so I can turn my dinette into like another bunk. Initially, I didn't have any holes in this cabinet. And then I realized I needed more warm air to get back in there, because you have to think about condensation when you build. You need to think about airflow. This was an odd-shaped cabinet, so ended up, this is the best thing for it. I've got my cast iron pan, which I use this all the time, and a cutting board. I can lock that in with my little trusty lock. Here's another set of cabinets. Initially, I had a Bluetti, and the Bluetti was here, a Bluetti EB150. And I went to 2 lithium batteries and a 2200 amp hour inverter, because now I can use this little air fryer. This was another odd shaped cabinet. Now here's my 1/4" by 20 rod that keeps it from opening. I lift that and this opens, and this says it's my garbage can. This is a chair I got on the side of the road. It's an old student desk chair, but I can sit and play guitar and there's no arms on it. So that's really handy. And I bring it outside. See, behind here is my Dickinson heater. That's the Dickinson P9000. They make a P12000. The beautiful thing about that is it really sips the power. It's a low BTU heater. It runs, let's see, I think it's 3,000 BTU or 3,200 BTU on low and 4,500 BTU on high. And it employs a computer fan, which is really quiet and very...
Oh yeah, that's very quiet.
Very quiet, and that's on high right now. It really is just a heater box, but that air allows it forces air around the heater box and it blows it out here. And these all come out of the boating world.
Right.
You can run them on, you can buy the one for diesel, or you can buy the solid fuel, which runs on coal, compressed wood, or wood that you cut up. And I love that idea. I love the idea of a flame, but I'm processing wood or I'm buying coal, which I'm not crazy about, or compressed wood. And my friend convinced me, just go with the propane. It's easier. You're on vacation a lot of times. A lot of places which have RVs have propane, so it's easy to get.
Very easy.
Well, this is my dinette with a Lagoon Table. And I'm in travel mode right now. I have one of those custom bungees on here holding it in place. I have a little eyelet under there. And so this does swivel around. And
nice.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go any bigger with the Lagoon Table. It's just a little floppy, just based on the design, how that works. So this is my DIY composting toilet. And it's a 5-gallon bucket with a Lugable Loo and a urine diverter. And I got the urine diverter on eBay. You have to cut out a little portion of the bucket so to have it receive it. And then I use PEX plumbing to make connections into I have a 1-gallon container so that it won't freeze on me. And then I have a series of valves because I plan to put a 10-gallon tank underneath. And that would be just for liquids. The solids, go into the bucket. But when I'm in bunkhouse mode, of course, then I can't use that. But the way I designed it is this will lift right out. And I can make an outdoor toilet. And there's I can't remember who makes it, but there's a rubber ring that sets into, which just gets lagged to the floor. And it's like a rubber compound. And it makes it easy to lift in and out. And it's stable, doesn't move. On the other side, I have just a garage. I use this as a garage. Just a couple of milk crates. I cut this down on the table saw, and then I made some wood trim and put that over the top because these edges were very sharp.
Yeah, so beautiful. I mean, did you have any background in carpentry?
Well, I worked with my buddy Tracy as a carpenter's helper years ago, and then I just have worked on houses myself. I've done a couple kitchens, and each kitchen that I look at has gotten, better. But over time, I've just learned to value, being thorough and not being in a hurry. Like this was a challenge, getting this right. And I didn't want to have a closed cabinet. I wanted the air to be able to get in there. And then I needed something to hang these window coverings. So that's where the shelf kind of came in. What am I going to do to hang this window covering? I researched a fan with a light, and I found that Max fan makes a vent with a light. So that's pretty handy.
And it's got a fan inside.
Yeah, so I have storage underneath here. And the way I get to that is through these doors here. These are the lithium batteries I put in. This is my this is how I heat the batteries up if I need to. Mm-hmm. It's a little tight in there, but and like my inverter and my Victron shunt, I mounted those to a board. I cut the piece of plywood, and then I drew it all out in CAD software where things would go. I mounted it to the board, and then I installed it because it's such a tight area. I have a 30 amp AC charger if I need to. And these are 2 HQST lithium batteries. This is just all storage in here. I use a couple milk crates. Yes, just some general storage that I don't need to use very often. Here's another instance where I use those custom bungees. I have a guitar here, and so those custom bungees hang that guitar up very easily. I use them here for storage of clothing. Of course, I have more storage underneath here. This cabinet here, though, this is the one, this stores all my pots and pans. These cabinets came about because I have my propane lines coming up here. Well, if you put a slide in, you can't put it all the way to the side. So I created these little cupboards, and so now I've got a couple of pieces of vertical wood, and they can store cutting boards, and this is the big one if I want to cook bacon or something on there. So I use a clam tent for the shower structure, and then I built a couple things here that make the showering easy. So this will go on. I'll hang this up, and then this is a wire I made from an old extension cord. I plug this into the 12 volt. I have a 12 volt auxiliary power outlet here. So this is a high quality jerry can for water. And then this arrangement, which a guy on YouTube shows how to make this. This is a simple little water pump. And then the wire comes up to power the pump. And then the pump draws the water in and carries it through that hose. And so as long as the pump is submerged, you're going to get delivery of water. Heat up some water, you pour it in here, then you add enough cold water so that you get to the comfort of water that you like. You plug this in for power source. You plug this in here. And then the idea is you bring this into the shower with you. And again, the conservation of water is key. So this will be outdoor. This is indoor the tent, inside the tent. And then
That's nice flow, yeah.
it's nice, yeah. And you can adjust it however you like. That's actually probably better. So I do have the ability to plug in. I can plug in my generator. I do have a gas-powered generator, or if I'm at an RV park. This is my solar in, so I can ground deploy the 200 watts of solar here.
Well, Thomas, thank you so much for sharing your home with us. A plethora of really, really good ideas. I really appreciate it. So, folks, I'm sure you got some great ideas here. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Bye now.